Marcus woke up before the sun, long before his alarm could ring. He lay in bed for a moment, staring at the cracked ceiling of his small apartment, and whispered to himself, "Today will be different." Today was the day he had waited for, the day of the job interview that could finally change his and his daughter's life. He quietly stepped out of bed so he wouldn't wake little Zoe, who slept curled like a kitten beside her stuffed bear. Marcus tiptoed to the kitchen and started boiling water for tea. The apartment was old, the walls thin, the cupboards broken, but Marcus made it feel warm with his love and effort. He checked his old iron shirt, clean but faded from too many washings. He smoothed the collar with his hands and hoped the interviewers wouldn't judge him by his clothes. After dressing, he walked to Zoe and gently touched her shoulder. "Baby girl, time to wake up," he whispered. Zoe rubbed her eyes and smiled sleepily. "Daddy, today is your big job day." Marcus nodded with a smile, even though his stomach twisted with worry. He braided her hair carefully, the way she liked, and packed her lunch in a small pink box. "After I get the job," he promised, "we'll buy you a new lunchbox with unicorns." Zoe giggled. "And maybe a bigger room." Marcus smiled sadly. One day, he held her tiny hand as they walked to the bus stop. The morning air was cool, and Zoe leaned against him sleepily. Marcus opened his cracked phone and rehearsed the interview answers he memorized the night before. Zoe watched him silently and whispered, "You can do it, Daddy." Her belief gave him strength. When they reached her school, he knelt down and kissed her forehead. "Be good today, okay?" She nodded, then hugged him tightly. "Get the job," she whispered with innocent confidence. Marcus smiled, waved, and began walking toward the bus stop. The interview was across the city, and he calculated every minute carefully. If the bus came on time, if traffic was clear, if nothing went wrong, he could make it. But life rarely follows plans. When Marcus got off at his transfer stop, he noticed something unusual on the sidewalk. A woman was standing near a row of parked cars, holding a large box. At first, Marcus didn't pay much attention. He was already checking the time, counting the minutes nervously, but then the woman's foot slipped. The heavy box tilted and she stumbled backward. The box crashed to the ground, scattering papers and folders everywhere. The woman hissed in pain and grabbed her ankle. People walking by looked at her for a second but kept going. Cars passed without slowing down. No one helped. Marcus froze. He looked at her, then at his phone, then back at her. His interview was too important to miss. He needed it. His daughter needed it. But something inside him refused to walk away. Kindness wasn't something he could turn off. With a sigh that came straight from his heart, he jogged toward the woman. "Ma'am, are you okay?" he asked gently. The woman winced. "Think I twisted my ankle." She tried standing but couldn't. Her balance wobbled and she nearly fell again. Marcus steadied her. "Sit down, please." He helped her sit on a low step and checked her ankle. "You need to rest," he said softly. She looked at him with embarrassed eyes. "I'm so sorry you had to stop." Marcus shook his head. "Don't be sorry." He started picking up the scattered papers, organizing them into neat piles. He lifted the heavy box with ease and placed it beside her. "Do you need me to call someone?" he asked. She nodded weakly. Marcus dialed the number she gave him and explained the situation calmly. While waiting, he stayed by her side because she was shaking and clearly scared. She kept saying, "You don't have to stay, I'll be fine." But Marcus couldn't leave her alone on the sidewalk, with a swollen ankle and important documents spread everywhere. He stayed until her assistant arrived and helped her into a car. When she turned to thank Marcus, he simply smiled and said, "Please take care." Then he ran full speed toward the bus stop. He didn't look back. He didn't wait for appreciation. He didn't even realize that the woman he helped was someone powerful, someone wealthy, someone whose life would soon cross his again in the most unexpected way. All Marcus knew was that he was now late, very late, in the interview that was supposed to save his future was slipping out of his hands because he chose to help a stranger. But deep inside, despite his fear, the morning still felt right. His heart was heavy, yet peaceful. He had done the right thing, even if life wouldn't reward him for it. Or so he thought. Marcus ran down the street as fast as he could, his breath heavy and his heart pounding like a drum. He kept checking his phone, hoping the time would somehow slow down, but it didn't. Every minute slipped away like sand through his fingers. When he finally reached the tall glass building where the interview was supposed to take place, sweat clung to his back and dust covered his shirt from helping the stranger. He wiped his forehead with his sleeve, took one deep breath, and walked. Inside, trying to look composed, the receptionist, a stern-looking woman with sharp eyes, glanced at him with disapproval. "Name?" she asked without a smile. "Marcus Reed," he replied politely, forcing a hopeful smile. She typed for a moment, then raised her brows. "Your interview is at 10 o'clock, she said. "It's already 10:30, Marcus swallowed, his throat dry. I know. I'm sorry. I tried to get here on time. I was helping someone who... We are not responsible for your personal delays," she interrupted coldly. "The position has been filled." The words hit Marcus harder than any punch. "Filled," he whispered. "Please. I've been applying for months. Could you maybe check if the interviewer can still meet me? Even for 5 minutes?" The receptionist sighed loudly, as if he was asking for something impossible. "Sir, the hiring team has moved on. You missed your slot." She turned her attention back to her computer, already done with him. Marcus stood there frozen. All his preparation, all his late nights studying, all his hopes for a better life for Zoe, gone in minutes. He stepped aside, feeling the weight of disappointment crush his chest. A few employees walked by, glancing at his worn-out shirt and tired face. Some whispered, some judged silently. No one asked if he was okay. Marcus walked out of the building slowly, each step heavier than the last. When he reached the bench outside, he sat down and covered his face with his hands. He wanted to scream. He wanted to cry. But he held himself together because he had to stay strong for his daughter. He pulled out a folded piece of paper from his pocket, Zoe's drawing. It showed their small apartment, him holding her hand and both smiling under a rainbow. Zoe had written at the bottom, "Daddy will get the job." A tear slid down Marcus's cheek. "I'm sorry, baby girl," he whispered. "I tried." Meanwhile, across the city, the woman he helped earlier finally reached her office. She limped into her building, supported by her assistant, still shaken by the morning incident. She told her staff what happened, about the stranger who helped her gently, patiently, without expecting anything. He'd picked up everything for me, she said softly. He stayed until help came. Her assistant asked, "Did you get his name?" She shook her head sadly. "No. He left before I could." Hours passed as she worked, but her mind kept returning to the man who helped her. Something about his kindness felt rare, almost familiar in a world where people rushed past pain without caring. Later that afternoon, as she prepared for a meeting, she overheard two employees talking in the hallway. "Did you hear about the guy who missed his interview?" One said. "He showed up late and dusty. Looked like he hadn't slept in days." "Yeah," the other replied. "He seemed honest. But they didn't give him a chance." She froze. Dusty. Honest missed his interview. Her heart raced. "What was his name?" she asked, stepping into the hallway. The employees blinked in surprise. Marcus Reed," one said. The CEO's eyes widened. Marcus, the same man who helped her. The same man who carried her heavy box, picked up her papers, and stayed with her despite being in a rush. "Company was he interviewing for?" she asked. "Here," they replied. Ah! Her breath caught. Marcus had been trying to get a job at her company, and he missed it because he was helping her. A wave of guilt hit her chest like a storm. She immediately turned and rushed toward the lobby, determined to find him. She didn't know if he was still nearby, but she knew this. A man like Marcus deserved better than being punished for choosing kindness. She would make sure of it. The CEO hurried through the lobby, her heart beat loud in her ears as she searched for Marcus. She didn't know what he looked like when he wasn't lifting boxes or kneeling on a sidewalk, but she remembered his kind eyes, his calm voice, the way he cared more about her safety than his own schedule. She stepped outside and scanned the area with desperate eyes. For a moment, she feared she was too late. Then she saw him. Marcus sat on a lonely bench across the street, elbows resting on his knees, his head lowered like a man carrying the weight of the world. His hands gripped a small drawing. It looked like something a child would make. The CEO crossed the street quickly, her injured ankle hurting with every step, but she didn't care. When she reached him, she paused, unsure how to start. "Excuse me," she said softly. Marcus lifted his head slowly, surprised to see her. He immediately recognized her, the woman he had helped earlier. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. Standing up in concern, she smiled sadly. "I should be asking you that." Marcus looked down, embarrassed. "I'm fine," he lied. She looked at him closely, noticing the exhaustion in his eyes, disappointment on his face, and the child's drawing trembling in his hand. "Yeah. You missed something important today because of me," she said. Marcus shook his head quickly. No, don't think that. I chose to help you. It's not your fault." She stepped closer. "No. You tried to save my morning, and you lost your chance at your future. That is * my fault." Marcus's chest tightened at her words. No one had ever spoken to him with that much sincerity before. He sighed deeply. "I'll keep trying," he said quietly. "Shh. For my daughter. She depends on me." The CEO looked at the drawing again. "Is that her?" Marcus nodded. "Her name is Zoe," he smiled gently, though sadness still pulled at the corners of his mouth. "She believes I can do anything. I don't want to disappoint her." Something warm spread through the CEO's heart. She took a slow breath. "Marcus," she said softly, "do you know who I am?" He shook his head. "Just someone who needed help." She gave a small, meaningful smile. "I'm the CEO of this company." Marcus blinked, stunned. He looked at the building, then back at her in disbelief. "You're the boss." She nodded. "And today, you showed me more strength than most people ever do." Marcus opened his mouth, but no words came out. "You helped me," she continued, "even though you were rushing to an interview. Gosh. You stayed with me when everyone else walked past. You didn't complain. You didn't expect anything." She paused, her voice warm and steady. "People like you. I want them in my company." Marcus's breath caught. "But the position was filled." "They said, I know what they said," she interrupted, "and I'm overriding it." Marcus stared at her, disbelief turning into hope. "Are you offering me the job?" She smiled. "Yes, not out of charity. Not because I owe you, but because you have integrity, patience, and heart. Those are qualities I cannot teach." Marcus felt tears gather in his eyes. For a moment, he looked away, wiping them quickly. "Thank you," he whispered. "You don't know what this means." The CEO shook her head gently. "I think I do." She extended her hand. Marcus shook it with both of his, overwhelmed by gratitude. "Come inside," she said warmly. "Let's get you started." They walked back to the building together. People stared, surprised to see the CEO walking beside the man who had been rejected earlier that morning. She didn't care. Today wasn't about appearances, it was about justice. Later that afternoon, Marcus picked up Zoe from school. She ran into his arms, her tiny backpack bouncing behind her. Daddy, did you get the job?" Marcus kneeled down, tears shining in his eyes but a huge smile on his face. "Yes, baby," he whispered. "I did." Zoe hugged him tightly, giggling with joy. As they walked home, the sun golden behind them, Marcus felt a peace he hadn't felt in years, all because he chose kindness over convenience. All because he helped a stranger who wasn't really a stranger after all. Life had finally rewarded his good heart. And this time, it was only the beginning.